Welcome. You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day to all former and active military personnel. We appreciate your service here at the Beat Sessions. And I hope you've all had an excellent week. We have another big Friday upon us as we close in on the end of the year. There's a couple more, lots of cool records to be talking about this week. But given just everything that's happened, Election Day on Tuesday, the state of the world right now, it just feels kind of appropriate to start with this dude, the boss. Mr. Springsteen is back with a new record entitled Only the Strong Survive. This is his 21st studio album and his follow-up to 2020's Letter to You. And this record is actually his second studio album of all covers. This is a fun project. I know I mentioned the election and some politics. Springsteen is a guy that's been very interesting over the years. It's tough to I wanted to focus on it a little bit, but it doesn't feel appropriate. I try to keep politics off of the album reviews as much as possible. This feels like Patreon material. So I might throw up something later on the Patreon channel. But what I love about where Bruce is at in his career creatively, he's been rather prolific in the last 20 years. Since putting out The Rising in 2002, he's put out 10 records. Almost half of his studio albums have come in the last 2 decades. And it's impressive when you think that his career has spanned almost 50 years now. But he's definitely in a place where he seems to, just be comfortable where he's at this point in his life. He's 73 years of age. It's interesting listening to him talk about aging and, getting to this point and time passing. And it's wild. I mean, I'm getting ready to turn 40 here in about a year. It's hard to believe that I have that many years under my belt. So reflecting on life at his age, I think that this album is a byproduct of that, looking back at a 50-year career of making great rock and roll music, but also acknowledging the presence of soul and funk and R&B in his sound, because the E Street Band, there's so much about what made that band special as far as incorporating all of these different genres, all of these different elements into that signature sound. And it's why so many of us love Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And so, just reflecting on those songs that have really inspired him, and I'm sure have, inspired some of the other members of the band as they created music over the years. This is a cool arrangement of songs. And this is what I love in a cover project. I like the focus. We're dealing with a specific genre of music. We're looking at what's inspired Bruce to incorporate that soulful, funky sound into so many of his brilliant songs over the years. You're going to get some big hitters. You're going to get some deep cuts. That makes the arrangement fun. And I really like the energy from start to finish of the track listing. You get a lot of really good, upbeat, soulful stuff, but there's some moments of balladry, and I dig the balance there. I really think this is a fun collection of songs from a guy who's just reflecting on that 50-year career and what has moved him and what's inspired him. And I love that with these compositions, he's not doing too much. You're going to hear the strength of the original arrangements, no doubt, on all of these particular tracks. But given what Bruce has done with his music, his style, I think of Clarence especially on the saxophone. But there's so much about what the E Street Band did that makes this project just feel so natural for Bruce. And my only beef is that it's come this late in his life. But again, I think that this is the byproduct of that reflection of, finding himself at this point and feeling that muse, feeling that drive to celebrate the things that I guess subconsciously he has celebrated in the songwriting process himself. So this thing, it kicks off with the title track, Only the Strong Survive, Jerry Butler doing the original performance on that, but pretty strings, and I love the backing vocals. The backing vocals on this record throughout all of these songs are incredible. It's a really nice element. Like the dig the recitative vocal that Bruce opens up with on this track, and that guitar is great in this particular song as well. And then when everything comes in, it hits so nice. It backs off. Really good structure and composition in this song. I love it. Soul Days got a little action from Sam Moore helping out on this one as well, and originally done by Doobie Gray. I really like the great balance between just that classic R&B feel of the original and Bruce's style. And it's what makes this project so fun. Just really listening to him almost just pay homage to these songs. Not, like I said, not doing too much with the original arrangements, just giving them that Bruce Springsteen kick, a little bit of that boss energy. Night Shift, your third track, great song from the Commodores. I love the way the intro just rides that guitar and the organ, and then light funky feel hits, really excellent track. Do I Love You? Indeed I Do, your fourth song. Frank Wilson coming at you with this one on the original. I love the energy of this track, great vocals. And that's something that really kind of surprised me on this album. I mean, I like Bruce's voice, but there's some stuff sonically, the vocal elements on a lot of these tracks where I feel like he's really tested his range in a lot of ways that you don't really necessarily get on studio albums from him throughout the years. So that was a really fun element, and I thought he handled a lot of those notes really well. His voice is, again, it's pretty damn good. But your fourth track, Do I Love You Indeed, I dig the backing vocals on this track as well, and the way that they balance out with Bruce's. The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore, your fifth track, originally done by Frankie Valli, gives the track he gives us like a little bit of like a mariachi vibe. It's really interesting. I love the guitar and the horns. Kind of has this like Western ballad feel. And I would say of all the songs on this record, this is the one where it probably diverges from the original more than any other track, but it feels so good. It's really nicely done. Turn Back the Hands of Time, your sixth track, picks up the tempo a little bit from The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore. And it's a nice transition. You get a simple funky bass groove on the song. I dig the strings that come in. It's a great turn here. When She Was My Girl, your seventh track, great feel. Really get like a strong disco feel on this track from the Four Tops originally, and obviously that funk there, that soul and R&B, and just another great example of Bruce, and it feels so natural. He's just got this knack for understanding soul and R&B and incorporating it into his music. Jerry Butler is coming in next with Hey Western Union Man. That's your eighth song, classic soul feel. I freaking love the bass riff on this track too. It's probably my favorite on the album. Really a cool lick there. I Wish It Would Rain, your ninth song from The Temptations. I really like Bruce's voice on this particular track as well. The simple bass just got great tone on this song, and the rest of the instrumentation hits just right. Bruce's voice it's so delicate and it's so rough. I'm just so damn impressed with it on this record. Benny King is coming at us with Don't Play That Song, your 10th track. Great blues and soul feel on this song. Walking bass line is classic, and the coda is really solid on this particular song as well. I've always enjoyed that. A couple songs coming from William Bell here, starting with Any Other Way, your 11th track. Bright doo-wop feel on this song. Good change of pace. Bruce's energy is, I dig the style. It's like slowing it down just a little bit. It's really solid on this track. I Forget to Be Your Lover. Getting more of Sam Moore on this song as well. Second from William Bell there. And, what a cover. Such a solid groove in the rhythm section on this song. I love the way the strings and the horns work in. Subdued guitar fits right in on this track. It's probably my favorite song. If you're going to make me pick one, there's so many though. There's 15 songs on this thing. I love how big the project is. 7 Rooms of Gloom, a little more of the Four Tops coming at us. Big vocal and guitar intro, soul funk. Really just love it. Driven by a bit of rock. And you get like Sly and the Family Stone, a little bit of funkadelic on this thing as well. It's great. What Becomes of the Broken-Hearted, Jimmy Ruffin. This is, a great penultimate track. I really love the energy of it. Hits nice. And he nails it. This is a really good example of him not doing too much to the arrangement. Sonically, it feels a little more full, and I think that makes it just so much fun. And then Someday We'll Be Together, originally performed by Johnny and Jackie, but popularized by Diana Ross and the Supremes. Great album closer. It's just got such a solid feel that is it's true to the original. It's a fantastic way to wrap up this collection of songs. Bruce, you did a really nice job on this. If you happen to see this review, gonna vinyl please this thing for sure. Double LP with 51 minutes and 15 songs, but you're pretty much getting 4 songs on each side of the record. That's working for me. And this whole collection of arrangements really is working for me. And maybe I'm a little biased because I love Bruce, but I've also kind of had my issue with him in the last decade or so. And if you want to hop over to the Patreon channel, I'm gonna go to dinner, but I will be back. I'm going to throw some stuff up there, keep talking about this record a little bit, but we will vinyl please it. Hope you enjoy this record. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help Keith, MB, and I blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.